Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world, and welcome to this morning's Postgrad Insight session. Now, it's brought to you by postgrad.com and the University of Essex Online. They're going to be taking you through the next 35 to 40 minutes before a quick Q&A at the end. A reminder for those of you that have watched these sessions over the last couple of months, it's a live session. If there's any questions, please put it on the Q&A facility or the chat facility. Always keen to see the different nationalities and the different hellos we get, so please keep going with that. And if you are on social media watching live, whether it be on Facebook, whether it be on LinkedIn or Instagram, please use the messenger facility and message us privately. But for now, I'd like to hand you over to Sammy. They'll be taking you over for the next 35 minutes, and we'll see you for the Q&A towards the end. Sammy, over to you.
Can everybody see that okay?
If you just want to make that full screen, and then we're good to go, Sammy. Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, cool. So thank you everyone for joining us today. My name's Sammy. I'm a marketing executive with the University of Essex Online, and I'm just going to quickly introduce the speakers and today's agenda before we begin. So joining us today is Megan Wolstenholme, who is a program coordinator, Charles Cottrell, who's an admissions advisor, and then followed by Emily Clark, who is a student support manager. So onto the agenda, Megan will kick things off shortly by taking you through the undergraduate and postgraduate courses that we offer here at the University of Essex Online. Emily will then discuss the support you'll receive throughout your studies. And then Charles will also talk about the admissions and enrollment process. And then we'll conclude with a Q&A session at the end. So first of all, why study with us? So you'll gain a recognised qualification with a university that is ranked within the top 25 universities in the UK. So we're right up there with the top ranked universities. There's an emphasis upon the classroom experience with experienced academics who bring real world experiences and perspectives such as working environments. We have programs that focus on employability, equipping students with sector specific skills and optional modules to allow you to tailor the course to your own specialism. And furthermore, we are rated silver in the Teaching Excellence Framework. So we offer an interactive learning platform, which is available to students 24/7. We have a cohort of tutors who ensure a quick response to student emails. And there are opportunities for one-to-one sessions with tutors and a live Q&A sessions and seminars available as well. So all of our programs are 100% online and part-time to fit around your own lifestyle. So there's no in-person attendance required. However, once you graduate, you'll then have the opportunity to, once you've completed your studies, to graduate at our amazing University of Essex Colchester campus in person. So I now believe I'll pass this on to Megan, who will talk through the programs.
I'm Megan, and I'm a psychology program coordinator here at the University of Essex Online, specifically in the psychology academic department. So I'm just going to cover some of the exciting programs we offer here at the University of Essex Online, and hopefully one of these will spark your interest. This is for the postgraduate level of study. So we have several. I'll start with the business programs. We have a separate business department with the MSc Project Management course, looking at developing personal and professional skills alongside practical techniques for managing staff members. Business management, our general business masters. More specifically, there's also the business and management specialising in business analytics. There's the International Human Resource Management programme, Global Digital Marketing, Business with Finance, and then a specific supply chain programme, which is called Supply Chain Management and Global Logistics, which emphasises sustainability, supply chain management, marketing channels, and transport. What else do I have? The Leadership for Sustainability is also a newer course. So the university is constantly developing new programs, so that there's this newer business course, the Leadership for Sustainability, and this introduces ways to develop a strong, successful and sustainable economic model that helps organisations achieve long-term growth. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So we also have a computing department, and we have 5 computing programs: the MSc in computer science, the MSc in cybersecurity, 1 in data science, and 1 in artificial intelligence. And more recently, we've released the MSc Enterprise IT Management program, which is technically a computing, but I suppose it has a bit of business mixed in there as well. These all focus strongly on problem solving and technical skills, obviously very useful in today's online environment. And then we have the Education Academics Department with a couple of postgraduate programs, the Master of Education course, which looks at fostering innovative teaching methods, and also the MSc Digital Education, which is about how to integrate technology into an educational setting. And then lastly on this slide, we have the Health Department with a few programs. We have the Masters of Public Health, Global Mental Health and Wellbeing, Infection Control, International Healthcare Management, and Nursing. And these have all become really popular as well, following the worldwide pandemic and things moving online, and health. And yeah, these are all taught by active industry leaders as well, all of the programs, but health always has very good tutors and lecturers. Can we just go to the next slide, please? Thank you. We have 1 standalone course in criminology. So it's the MSc Criminology and Criminal Psychology, which is about crime origins, offender treatment, defining crimes, policing. It's really interesting. And then for law, we also have the LLM in international business law. So this is about transnational contract law, world trade operation procedures, and competition law at a national and international level. And then lastly, we have my department, psychology department. So we have 2 psychology postgraduate programs. They explore human behavior, developmental milestones, and fundamental research principles for a wide range of careers. So firstly, it's the MSc Psychology program, which explores human behavior, developmental milestones, and fundamental research principles for a wide range of careers. And then the MSc Organizational Psychology, which is business psychology, kind of. It's a newer program. It's more specific to employability, psychology in business settings, that kind of thing. So you learn how to increase business efficiency, improve organizational structures, assess job performance, as well as effectively motivate employees. Sorry about the pinging. So overall, these are all the full programs. They culminate in a dissertation. So you have a chance to do independent research in the chosen area that's related to the program. So if you do organizational psychology, you do a business psychology dissertation. But there are also the more entry level, I suppose. So the PG Cert and the PG Dip options for many of these courses. So definitely chat to one of our amazing admissions advisors, and they can support you to find the right program for you. And I've only really briefly outlined these courses. There's a lot more information on the University of Essex Online admissions website. So head over and definitely check out the details for yourself. And that's it from me. Thank you for listening. I'll pass over to Emily Clark, who will be taking you through some of the support available for our students. Thanks, Emily.
So my name's Emily and I'm one of the members of the student support team here at the University of Essex Online. And during my section, I'm going to talk about which ways you'll be supported during your studies with us here. across the 4 teams that are sort of outlined on the slides there, you will be supported in a variety of different ways. So these are the 4 core teams that we have within the Student Services Department. We have the Student Support Team, which is what I'm part of. We've then got the Study Skills Support Team, Disability and Welfare Teams, and then finally there at the end, we've got the Student Experience Team. I'm now going to go into a little bit more detail about each of these teams and the support that you will gain from those. Moving on to the next slide. So looking to start with the student support team. So one of the unique things about us here at the University of Essex Online is we do have dedicated support teams as per the department that you are studying in. So if you choose to study a business course, you will be supported by the business student support team. Same for psychology, same for law and all the other departments. This just allows your team to kind of have more of an in-depth knowledge and be more familiar with the courses that you are studying. It also allows us to kind of apprehend any queries that might come up, any sort of common questions, things like that in terms of your course and things. The kind of support that we do offer within student support is of a non-academic pastoral support technique. You do have academic support in terms of the study skills team and also your module tutors, things like that. But you would come to us in student support for any sort of non-academic pastoral things. We do also have the knowledge of all policies and procedures across the whole university. So if you are sort of studying with us and you want to kind of go down the route of a certain process, a certain policy procedure, they're the kind of queries that you would come to us for, as well as sort of minor technology advice, navigation around the online platform and things like that. In terms of contact with us in the student support team, we are contactable via the phone, email and a live chat service. So depending on the query, just sort of deciphers which method of contact you would get in touch with us for. So if you do have an urgent query, we would recommend contacting us via the phone. If you have a general query, you can get in touch with us via email. And then if there's a quick query that you need, help navigating around the online platform, or there's just a quick query regarding your course that you want answering, you can navigate to that live chat feature via the online platform. In terms of our working hours, so we work Monday to Thursday, 8:30 till 7 p.m. UK time. And then on Fridays, we are available 8:30 till 5 p.m. UK time. So within those timeframes, you can get in touch with us. If you do contact us outside of those timeframes via email, we do aim to get a response to you in a week on weekdays within 24 hours. And then over weekends, we'll get back in touch within 48 hours. Moving on to the next slide. Perfect. So onto the study skills team. They are the team that you will get in touch with for more general academic support. So academic writing skills, referencing, critical thinking, reading, things like that. All sort of general skills outside of the specific areas of your course. So as I said before, you'll have more specific course content support from your module tutors, but the study skills team can help with more general support in the aspect of producing your assignments and gaining those higher levels and higher grades overall. The study skills team do offer one-to-one sessions. They also offer wider workshops as well. So from time to time, we will have what we call study skills weeks, which will cover a variety of topics, whether it be preparing for your dissertation, general academic skills, e-library searches, things like that. And just like us in the student support team, they are also contactable via the phone and email. So should you need to get in touch with them, you can do over the phone and email. Working hours for the study skills team are Monday to Friday, 8:30 till 5 p.m. But again, you can still get in contact with them over email outside of these hours. It just means that we will get back in touch as soon as possible. On to the disability and welfare support. So we do have a dedicated disability officer who can support with any sort of reasonable adjustment plans, any sort of disability related questions that you may have while studying with us here at the University of Essex Online. We do also have safeguarding officers as well as part of the team. So just to make sure that any students who raise any sort of concerns or queries, we will be on hand to kind of navigate those safeguarding queries and things like that. But the disability officer and wellbeing and welfare support all kind of sits within the student services department. So you would always kind of reach out to us in student services and we would navigate you to the relevant team, be it sort of disability, safeguarding, wellbeing and things like that. And then finally, looking at the student experience. So we do have a student experience team here at the University of Essex Online, and they are heavily involved in sort of the running of social forums, if you're interested in being a course representative, and being on the student council, and also sort of advice around graduation and things like that. The main aim of the student experience team is obviously to better the student experience. So we always kind of accept and we are willing to take on that feedback and work on it, and that's the kind of thing that we ask for from students, is just any kind of guidance in terms of your experience with us at the University of Essex Online. We want to hear about it, and the student experience team do review all that feedback submitted through module surveys, and you'll be invited to do that at the end of each module that you do study. We do also as I mentioned before, offer guidance on graduation. So the student experience team are heavily involved in the running of graduation. So as a student of the University of Essex Online, you would be invited to the University of Essex campus at Colchester to graduate in person. If you're not able to graduate in person, we do also offer an online graduation celebration. So obviously you can attend both, but it's just nice to kind of have that offer for all students across the board. That is everything from me. So I'm now going to hand over to Charles, who works in the admissions team, to talk you through that initial admissions process.
Hello. Yes, so I'll take you through the admissions process and hopefully clear up any kind of internal questions people have about the course. I think people usually get some anxiety about applying to a university, understandably, but it's really not so bad. So the first step would be to apply using the online application form. So on there, you will be able to upload your supporting documents. So it would be things like, your personal statement, CV, educational certificates, and once you've submitted the application, you'll be assigned a personal admissions advisor. So you'll just have one person that will take you through the whole process. There's no application fee to apply with us. That's quite a common question. But the only fees that you would pay is for the tuition itself, and you'll have access to all of the course content and access to the e-library as well. No extra fees for that. Your application would be reviewed by admission staff, and occasionally we will refer also to the academic team if there's a qualification we're not quite sure about, or work experience, things like that. And then once we have the final decision on your application, you'll be contacted usually first by phone. But if you're not able to answer for any reason, then we can send you an email as well. So we'll take you through that application process, and then if you've been approved for your course, we can then issue you an offer letter. So within this offer letter email, there's the main two things are the links inside. So the first one is to accept your place on the course. That's just a quick online form, just to confirm that you wish to go ahead. And then if you're paying on a monthly basis, then you would just click through to the link for the online payment portal known as Flywire. So on there you can into your details to make your first deposit payment, or if you're paying in full, you can do that. We have a lot of questions about employer funding. We can accept employer funding, so that would just be slightly different. It would just require a slightly different form, but again, as you'll have your admissions advisor, we'll be able to provide you the right information about that when it comes to it. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so most students would apply via the academic route. So for undergraduate degrees, we would require usually 2 A levels. For some courses, it's 3 A levels or the equivalent of 3 UK A levels. But if you don't have this, we also have some options open. For example, there's the work experience route. So again, this would be for 3 years work experience. Usually it has to be kind of relevant. But if you don't have that either, we do actually have an open entry route for bachelor's degrees. So this would essentially be the first part of the full degree, and then the first 16 months. And once you've successfully completed it, it kind of demonstrates that you're able to study at that academic level, and then you'll be able to progress onto the rest of the course. So it still takes the same amount of time as the full degree would, but it would just be a slightly different entry route. So yes, there was a question about the English language. So the usual requirement for IELTS is 6.0 or the equivalent if you have a TOE EFL. But if you don't currently have this type of evidence of your English language, then we can offer a free online test as well, which is known as the KTE. So it's just something that we would send a link to you for, and your username and password. You would just log into it, and it takes about 45 minutes to an hour to complete. We would just use the score from that. Okay, next slide. So this slide is about the fees, and it also kind of shows the different levels of the course. So if you're applying for postgraduate, there's 3 levels for it. So you can either choose to apply directly for the full master's program, or if you wanted to do it in stages, you could sign up for the PG Cert initially and then progress to the PG Dip, and then again to do the final 60 credits to do the full master's. And that's the fees there for for UK students and international. The fees are based on your location at the time, so it doesn't matter about nationality. It's more about where you'll be studying from. And next slide, please. Yes, so this slide, so with regards to the payments, so a lot of the time we can accept student loans. So each person's eligibility might be slightly different, so it's always just best to check directly with Student Finance England, and that would be available for students living in the UK. So if someone's not originally from the UK, then you would just need to be living in the UK within the last 3 years, I believe it is. So yeah, again, just best to just check that, and they can let you know in your individual circumstance. So if you're not paying via student loan, you'll have the option to pay on a monthly payment plan. That would just be the tuition fee split into however many months of the course that you have. If you decide to pay everything up front, then there's an extra 5% discount. We also often have regional scholarships and alumni discounts. It can be 10%, sometimes it's 20%. So your admissions advisor will be able to let you know more information about that. Yep, so that's the regional scholarship. Oh yes, so another important one would be the 21-day money back guarantee. So that is to allow you to get a taster of online study. So for a lot of people, that would be the first time doing it. So if for any reason you decided it wasn't for you, then or if there's a circumstance that you need to withdraw from the course, you have 21 days to just let us know, and then you'll receive a full refund if you've self-funded. And we can either withdraw you from the course, or we can defer you for one of the future intakes. And then I mentioned the various course scholarships. These are always changing, so once you've applied, we'll be able to let you know what the discounts and things are. Next slide. Yes, we have quite a few different intakes for our courses. The next start date for them all would be in January. So the undergraduate and postgraduate are on the 14th. They both start on the same day, and it's just the short courses, these online professional courses, which start on a slightly different date. So I don't think I've not mentioned the online professional courses, but they're essentially single modules just by themselves. So a lot of students would like to do those just because it improves your professional development and gives you like a CV booster. So these are 13 weeks in total, and again, they would just be fully online, no requirement to attend the campus, and it would be part-time study as well. Next slide. Yep, so I mentioned this earlier, so that when you're ready to apply, then you just use the online form, and then there's the list of documents that you would upload. So if you just make sure that your CV is up to date, and it's always best to include more educational certificates than less, and then it just gives us more information to work with. Photo ID would need to be a passport or driving license. And your personal statement needs to be at least 300 words, usually between 300 and 500 words. But if you go slightly over, then that's fine as well. If there's any other documents that we require, we'll be able to let you know as well. And you can move on to the next slide. Yep, so that's the end for me. If there's any specific admissions questions, I'll be able to answer those for you.
Thank you, Charles.
Okay, so we have the Q&A now.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that, and thank you to all the other speakers as well. Always good to find out from different universities, elements of different universities as well. People would just see Essex and think campus only. No, there's online element to it. So, at this stage, can I invite Meg back on and Emily as well? I think you've come back on already, which is great. Sammy, are you coming on as well? If you are, just pop your screen back on. If not, I'll guide it in your direction. You can come back on. Charles, if I can start with yourself, because I thought that was a nice way to end, talking about the intake dates and the flexibility that offers. There's many universities that only offer one intake date, for instance. How important is that flexibility when it comes to applying for the student? The fact that they can apply in November and start in January, and apply in January and start in March, April time, that must be key.
It helps a lot, because I think when you're younger, you're used to the usual kind of academic year, and everyone has the September in their minds when it's university time. But I suppose for people that are working, it's a lot more flexible. So it's good to have those multiple start dates across the year. It just works out for many different people.
And Emily, obviously your student services and you work in that team and have done for a while now. The flexibility that, again, I'm going to mention around the, if you have a disability, the accessibility concerns that students might have about studying at a campus, that's kind of put to bed when it comes to online learning, and you can still feel like you're kind of on campus as well because of the services that you can reach out to the likes of yourselves, whether it be on Zoom, Teams, whether it be a phone call away. Presumably you handhold them all the way through the courses.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the support that they get from us in student services, it comes right from the admissions phase. So we kind of welcome students onto the course after they're passed to us from admissions, and then we are there up until they graduate. So they will have support from us on a team basis throughout the whole duration of their studies, and be that sort of coming to us in student support, needing support from study skills. The disability office is going to be there the whole time as well. So if you do have a disability, you have a reasonable adjustment plan in place, and then later down the line you realise that actually needs to be updated, I need an additional adjustment, things like that, they will still be there. So it's a constant case of reviewing and re-reviewing support and making sure that we are providing that to all the students throughout their studies.
Keeping on that theme, Emily, how do you create a kind of team feeling? Because sometimes if it's all online, it can feel a bit lonely sometimes because you're by yourself. Don't have that same element of being next to people and socializing with people. How do you keep that camaraderie in place to make sure that everyone feels all as one?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the general community environment, we do have sort of like forums and stuff like that we encourage students to engage in. Each module, they also have discussion forum elements that continue that professional academic engagement that you would do on a campus-based university. You find a lot of the time with our students, they'll have the same, peers on modules each time if they're going through that same process. So they might kind of reach out to them more often because they notice their name from their previous module, things like that. So even though you're not meeting the people face to face, obviously now we do have a lot of aspects in terms of you can meet via Zoom. We have chat functions available via the online platform, things like that kind of promote that community feeling. And obviously coming to us in student support as well, we are part of that community. So we can kind of enhance that experience that students will have with us.
And Meg, carrying on from that, obviously from a program perspective, you will be speaking to people all the time that will be anxious and worried about how can they enhance their studies online. Does it make a difference campus? But you got to remember that a lot of the on-campus courses now are blended learning a lot of the time. So actually, you're not losing out too much. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. I mean, I think a lot of students come and think of university and think of work placements and things like that. But I know that wasn't something that happened at my university. For example, I went to a campus university in the UK. So a lot of that is about yourself as a student, reaching out. Your tutors are all leading heads in, active industry leaders. They really know their stuff when they're hosting their live seminars and Q&As and things. So, reach out to them, see if they know anything that you could do, any research that you could participate in. Even something as simple as participating in another student's research can help you see how what you're learning is developed, and eventually you have your dissertation at the end and things like that. It's a lot of it about reaching out and making the most of speaking to people who are in the industry that you're looking to either grow into or whatever.
What kind of role does artificial intelligence play for you guys? Because there's all these platforms now that you can use, and it's not just online platforms. It's on campus doing your personal statements and various different elements as well. How important is it that there's not an over reliance on that to ensure that you are doing the studies yourself? I think it's very evident. I think we all know when it's done on certain platforms. I won't name them, but how important is that to make sure that you are yourself within your personal statement and within your studies also?
I think the AI can be a useful tool to maybe give for templates and things like that. But we really want to hear about your background and experiences, and everyone's background is going to be different. And I think if each person focuses on their own personal things, I think you'll come up with a lot more interesting personal statement than what AI could write. So it just gives us good insight into your level of knowledge and experience, and we'd much rather read that.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through some of the questions that have come in now. Now, feel free to pick up whoever it may be. I suspect a few will be your direction, Charles. To begin with, I know there was a question in the chat about the IELTS as well. I think what they were kind of getting at was they've got an IELTS certification. Typically, they expire after 2 years, I want to say 2 or 3 years. If you are a student and you're coming back after many years, perhaps you're a mature student, you've got a family now, you want to come back and enhance your studies, do they then have to retake the IELTS exam and get to the level that obviously you require?
No, not at all. I mean, if you already have an in-date IELTS, then or TOEFL, feel free to send it. We can use that. But we will offer a free KTE test in any case, which you'll be able to complete in your own time.
Super.
Yeah.
And I would say that kind of sets you guys apart. There's not many universities that would offer that, which is fantastic. Just rattling through them to continue. Will my online degree have the same impact as a face-to-face on-campus course with businesses around the world? So again, employability off the back of it. And there's another question around that. How key is that when it comes to choosing Essex Online, employability options
Yeah,
post-studies?
yeah, it's a really common question actually. I think a lot of people have worries that their online course might not be considered the same, but you would receive exactly the same qualification as on campus. You'd get the same certificate, and the same amount of academic credits will be earned. So your certificate will appear exactly as an Essex campus student would receive.
Okay, and just there's a question here about how long the average course takes. You get the same amount of credits, whether you start in January, whether it be in April, September, whatever it might be, November. Can you take that in your own time, or is there a structure that you guys like to stick to? Because there'll be people that'll go, as long as I take the credit, surely it doesn't matter. They do that in a week or the 6 months, it doesn't matter. Is there a structure that you guys like to stick to?
There is a structure. So each module would last, I believe it's about 8 or 9 weeks, and then there's a short break before the next one starts. And then, of course, you get kind of set deadlines that you'd have to meet. But within that, we want to keep the course as flexible as possible because everyone's got different outside commitments like work and family, things like that. So as long as you feel that you can devote 15 to 20 hours each week for your studies, you can do that anytime. You can just log in to the virtual learning environment.
That's not a lot, really, is it? 15, 20 hours. If I find that within a week, I'm sure anyone can. A couple of more questions. Can a student offer two different certificate programs, maybe one after the other? Obviously, you had that slide mentioning your certification options. Charles, back to you again.
Is that as in studying two courses at the same time?
Yeah, so they take one course, then can they study one straight away after?
Oh, yeah, you can study one after the other, but we tend to not advise doing two courses at the same time, just because it might take away focus from them. Yeah.
Goes back to what you were just saying as well, try and keep to a structure, as much as you can. Emily, I'm going to finish with you if that's okay. One of the things that fascinate me about online learning and people won't realize is there is a graduation at the end of it, whether that be online, whether that be face to face, wherever it may be. How important is that? And do you find that a lot of people, international students in particular, do take up that face to face element of it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of the face-to-face graduation, so we at University of Essex, there's a graduation week, and for the University of Essex Online, we have a specific day in which all the online students sort of go and celebrate their graduation with their family and friends. We do have a lot of uptake. A lot of international students from all around the world kind of come to attend the in-person graduation, which is really lovely to see as well. In terms of obviously coming to the graduation ceremony, that's what our student experience team can kind of help with. If you need a visa, if you need sort of support getting here, that's what they are there for, which obviously we can offer. Obviously, if you're not able to attend the in-person event, we do also have the online celebration, which is also a really nice celebration for everybody to get involved in, and everybody can sort of see the achievements that you've sort of got at the University of Essex.
Super. And again, how does that look online? Because there'll be many people that will be going, oh, I want to do a graduation. Does that involve, I don't know, a community party online? How does that work?
So it would be it's a bit like this, really, a bit like a live session in which all of the academics will attend, the staff here at the University of Essex Online, and then obviously the graduates would attend as well. And we kind of reach out to potential graduates coming up to the live event, just to kind of say, we want you to be part of the celebration. There's awards given out, things like that, and we'll hear from the award winners. We'll hear from the people that have maybe performed really well on their course, things like that. And then just a general celebration and congratulations from us here at the University of Essex Online.
Okay, thank you very much. And Sammy, just to finish, I'm just conscious I haven't really heard from you much since the start. Just to wrap things up, intake dates, it was mentioned by Charles at the end, but if a student wants to apply, where can they go? Where can they find out more information? And typically, how long does that take?
Yeah, so if you would like to find out more, please visit our website, online.essex.ac.uk. And if you are that interested, request a prospectus. And we'll be following that up very shortly with any queries, or even if you're just generally interested. Like I mentioned in the presentation, we have a lot of intakes coming up in 14th of January, April, July, October. So if January doesn't work for you, there's more dates available later in the year, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Excellent. I have put a link in the chat facility for anyone watching, and also on social media in the actual post as well. So Sammy, Meg, Emily, Charles, thank you for your time. Really appreciate that. Always great to hear from you guys, and hopefully we'll catch up in 2025, early 2025, about the success of the January intake, and we'll catch up soon. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.